any of you guys ever get so triggered in the moment that you just want to rage at your children, or you just want to scream at somebody and let it out and it feels good? Anybody ever feel like that? Yeah, raise your hand. There's a question that came in. I wanted to talk about that. What do we do in those moments? Also wanted to make a couple of announcements. If you are struggling with that kind of aggression, then definitely join me next Tuesday, December 17th. I am getting together with Tasha Shore, Parenting Your Boys. Is that her Facebook page? I'm probably messing it up. She's a fabulous hand-in-hand parenting instructor and co-author. She and Patty Whitfler wrote a book together. You've probably heard me mention her Out with Aggression for Boys event that she's been hosting all of this month. But I'm getting together with her live. We're going to do a Facebook Live together next Tuesday, December 17th. 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. I will definitely post more about that, but write that down in your calendar if you can make it. If you're struggling with aggression, I know a lot of us are, because we came from families that didn't teach us how to deal with our emotions, or even teach us that emotions were important. And so a question came in from a mom about what to do in the moment. She's getting triggered with her kids, and she's a single mom. She's got 2 kids coming at her at once, and she feels herself like getting ready to grab the spoon, which hit me. I loved, because I come from a family where grabbing the wooden spoon was a thing. That was like a cultural thing that was definitely part of my childhood and part of my mom's childhood. And, just going back, that wooden spoon is just something that I think many people can relate with. And if you don't resonate with that, then I'm sure you've got other things that may trigger you in that moment. But what do we do? What do we do in those moments when we feel so overwhelmed by our emotions, hijacked by our emotions, in the same way that our children are hijacked by their emotions and they can't control their behaviors? That happens to us. And so the only way for us to teach our children to move through that is if we learn how to do it, right? So how do we do it? What do we do? Gets me all worked up just thinking about it. But I think one of the first things that we have to do is shift the way that we see ourselves in that moment and see our children in that moment. A lot of us are coming in with beliefs unconsciously that say, my child is doing this to me, they're bad, they're not responding to my discipline, I must be bad. And it's unconscious, and it just puts us down and it triggers us. And if they don't do what we want them to do in that moment, then we get even more upset because we feel out of control and we don't know what to do with that out of control feeling. Like, what do we do when we need someone to do something, and someone that's smaller and that's supposed to listen to us and respect us, and they're not doing it, they're not responding to us? What do we do? What do we do in that moment? Take a deep breath. Walk away, get a glass of water. Those are some really immediate things that you can do every time that happens, until you feel that you can sit in that moment or stand in that moment and breathe through it while you watch your child get upset and sort of come at you. You can also set boundaries. You can say, I don't like the way we're talking to each other. Let's take a break, and then remove yourself from the situation. Obviously, if your children are old enough, you can set those kind of boundaries. When they're really little, we have to sort of build our stamina to be able to withstand their big emotions. We have to start changing the way that we look at children in those moments. Instead of they're doing this to us, think about how they're struggling in that moment. Walk away, though. Take some deep breaths. Walk away from that situation and just breathe. The fastest, most beneficial way that you can work on retraining your brain in that moment is to start breathing, because you're probably not breathing in that moment, and to start shifting what you're thinking. Like, what does your mind go to in that moment? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking in those moments? And if you can't sort of run this through in your head right in that moment, then just recall it later. Go back, at the end of the day, and think about that moment that you had with your kid that you struggled with, and think about how it felt in that moment. What were you thinking? What were your actual thoughts going through your head? They'll never learn. How dare they? All of that. That's part of what keeps us stuck in this, we get so many tips and ideas about how to, do parenting and how to parent our kids and how to move through these moments. But how many times are we actually focused on changing how we think about these moments, how we go in and how we think about what's happening, what I'm capable of? If we're just thinking, they're not listening, I have to be harsher, they need more discipline, all of this stuff is just going to lead you to use harsher discipline, more disconnecting strategies that really don't get you anywhere and can usually cause children to display even more aggressive or troubling behavior, or it just sort of exacerbates over time. So shift your beliefs. Start with affirmations in the morning. Like, what do you wake up thinking about your children? Are you dreading the day, like walking on eggshells, hoping that nobody has an outburst? Or do you actually walk in feeling confident and capable? If you're not walking in feeling confident, and I don't mean every day, this is not perfection. You guys know me. Conscious, not perfect is my motto, but ultimately we have to take a little bit of responsibility, right? We have to be the bigger people in the room. We have to be the person in charge. Sometimes we'll fall down and, and get upset and need to have our own little meltdowns. Okay, but then what do we do? What do we do next? In that next moment, how do we choose a different choice? We breathe, we take a breath, and we walk away. Like I said, walk away, get a glass of water. Ultimately, though, you have to shift what you're doing. You have to regulate your stress. I think affirmations, meditation, exercise is really great for some people. How are you channeling that stress? Because ultimately, it's a buildup of unprocessed emotions, stress, and a lot of unconscious memories. But we have to work on it bit by bit. So start with your belief system and then start to add in things like, how do I regulate my stress during the week? What is stressing me out? Am I upset with this child right now because I have a million things on my to-do list that I haven't figured out how to do? Or am I stressed with my child because I feel attacked and I feel unable to regulate my emotions in this moment, and I feel like I don't like this person that I'm looking at and I don't like the person that I'm becoming? If that's where you're at, then you definitely want to start with your beliefs and start to shape and change those beliefs to one of, this is a small child having a big problem, a big challenge, and I'm confident and capable in my ability to help them work through it. We have to start getting comfortable with our emotions. I can't stress that enough, you guys, and I don't mean to make it all big and down, and I wish I could just give you magic tips, but ultimately this is about changing the way that we think about what's happening. We are not trying to train our children to become self-regulated and to become all of these things that we want them to be. We're teaching them how to live in the world. We're teaching them how to respond to life. We're teaching them how to respond to things that don't go their way. And if we want to do that, then we want to be able to show them, be able to model that for them. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Remember to catch me next Tuesday, December 17th, on my Facebook page or the group page with Tasha Shore. We're going to get together and talk about aggression and how do we deal with that. Specifically, Tasha deals with helping our boys, but I feel like anybody can join the discussion and get a lot out of it. So I hope to see you there. All right, talk to you soon.